Sets these teams up in Europe. Don't forget, they're here tonight in the Europa League semi-final. They've had some great nights in the Champions League over the last couple of years. You know, really taking it to PSG and Bayern Munich at Villa Park. Had some great days. So I think the players trust him and believe that he and they of course will persevere and come through it.
And talk of belief, that's what they're showing in Ollie Watkins right now, who's really found his form. He scored 6 in his last 7 in all competitions. That's since being left out of Thomas Tuchel's last England squad. But he's talked about how that's given him the fire in the belly. Yeah,
look, and he's done everything right, Ollie, since that moment. Kept his head down, hasn't said anything, hasn't come out and acted rash or, you know, got the hump. He's just got his head down, played his football, and he is a streaky kind of goal scorer, Ollie Watkins. Jim and I were looking at his record just before we got here out here this evening. He's that sort of player that when he's amongst the goals, they seem to really flow. So that's a little bit of a warning for Forest tonight, and it's a bonus for Villa that he's in that sort of mood coming into such a big game.
Yeah, and you can also say the same for Morgan Gibbs-White, who was also left out of the England squad, how he's come to the fore, certainly.
The 3-1 defeat at Anfield at the weekend. Shakhtar won 3-1 away at Kudrivka in the Ukrainian Super League. And on the back of that, the manager has made a staggering, this is Arda Turan, has made 9 changes coming into the game this evening for this Conference League semi-final, whereas Oliver Glasner has just made the 1 change from that weekend defeat against Liverpool. Felix Vea is our referee. This is the first time these two sides have ever met, by the way, in any kind of competition, so it should be interesting. They're out now onto the playing surface under the lights here. We're getting the anthem before the game. So Shakhtar line up with a 4-1-4-1 formation. Dimitro Risnik is in goal, a back 4 of Vinicius Tobias, Valery Bondar, the captain Mykola Matvienko and Pedro Enrique. In front of them is Oleg Odjeketro, and the 4 in front of him, Alisson Santana, Pedrino da Silva, Marlon Gomez and Eguinaldo Lemos, and Kawa Elias leads the line. No more than 7 Brazilian players in that starting lineup for the Ukrainian side this evening. On the bench for Shakhtar, the keeper Denis Trajanovski. Then we've got Lassina Traore, Marlon Santos, Newton Palmeiras, Isak Silva, Irakli Azarovi, Alar Gram, Artem Bondarenko, Yeho Nazarina, Lucas Ferreira, Lucas Moraes and Prosper Oba. So that is the Shakhtar lineup this evening. Oliver Glasner goes with a 3-4-3 formation. In goal is the captain Dean Henderson. Then we've got Chris Richards, Maxence Lacroix and JD Canvo. The 4 across the middle, Daniel Munoz, Adam Wharton, Daichi Kamada and Tyrick Mitchell. And the front 3 are Ismail Assar, Jean-Philippe Mateta and Yeremy Pino. He's the only change for Brennan Johnson. On the bench for the Eagles, the 2 keepers, Remy Matthews and Walter Benitez. Then we've got Jefferson Lerma, Brennan Johnson, Nathaniel Klein, Will Hughes, Jorgen Strand-Larsen, Borna Sosa, Chadi Riyad, Justin Deveni and Rio Cardin. So, the referees and the officials in the middle, Felix Vea, our German referee this evening, and the 2 captains come to meet in the middle, Matvienko and Dean Henderson. And they swap the pennants as is tradition. And now we get the coin toss. Good atmosphere inside the stadium under the lights. Not quite full this evening, but a reasonable turnout from South East London that have travelled to Poland. And of course, sadly, Shakhtar not being able to play in their own country, but they have travelled in numbers across the border to support their team here this evening. And, well, we shall see what happens. Shakhtar, all in orange, trimmed with black this evening. And they'll be playing from right to left in this first half. Crystal Palace in their red, white and blue strip with the red and blue vertical stripes down the chest of the white shirt with 1 red shoulder, 1 blue shoulder. It's all very spangly and smart. And, yeah, Shakhtar all in bright orange, trimmed with blacks like the tiger stripe front that they've got going on there. It's very smart indeed. You certainly won't miss them, that's for sure. So we're ready now for this semi-final. Palace get into the huddle as I say, it's been an interesting season for them. Defending FA Cup champions at the start of the season, the first time they'd ever won it in their history, and they went out at the first hurdle to non-league Macclesfield Town, which was a huge shock. They've done okay in the league, not as great as they would have hoped.
To both Sevilla and Inter Milan, respectively. They were both in Europa League, though. It's the first time these two sides have made it this far in this competition. Of course, the Conference League only joined a few years ago. Before then, it was only the Europa League and the Champions League, the two European competitions. Crystal Palace have won 3 European away games this season, drawn 2, lost the remaining 2. Away from home again, bearing in mind that there's a second leg, 7 days time. How important will it be for Crystal Palace to take a lead back to Selhurst Park? How difficult will it be if Shakhtar Donetsk don't have a lead when they go back to Selhurst Park in a week's time? Just moments away from the game getting underway. It isn't the first time in this competition this year that Crystal Palace have faced Ukrainian opposition. In the group stages at the beginning of the competition 6 months ago, they beat Dynamo Kiev by 2-0. They're currently inside of their own half with a team huddle going on, just awaiting the arrival of Chris Richards, joining late from going back over to the touchline. Shakhtar Donetsk doing very similar inside of their own half. It's Ismail Assar maintaining his position in this starting lineup. There may have been a slight change of approach from Oliver Glasner, but relegation isn't anything they need to worry too much about. And a shot at European football, the best bet is by going on to win this competition. They've found it, quite smooth sailing so far, and we'll see just how they get underway. On the whistle of the referee, it is Crystal Palace to get things underway for us. Kicking off from left to right, and it's Kamada who plays the ball all the way back to Henderson. Henderson takes a touch, long ball over the top to the right-hand side towards Mateta. It's taken a bounce over him. It's cleared away, though, by Enrique. Up towards the halfway line, headed back over by Lacroix, and down by Mateta. Flicked on them for Sarr. Now for Mateta again, through the middle for Sarr. His throw and goal, a chance for Ismail Assar, and he's transversed into 25 seconds. Crystal Palace took a very early lead into this game. It's almost immediately from Clover from Lacroix. Mateta playing the target man role to perfection, brings the ball down, plays it through the middle for Ismail Assar. He's worked out well with Pino and Sarr both playing around the centre. Mateta just brings the ball down. He's got 2 supporting options either side of him. Ball to Pino, it's straight back to Mateta. First time ball through the middle, Sarr's through on goal. He's beaten the trap between Bondar and Matviatska and gone through and finished it with comfort past Riznik to make it Shakhtar Donetsk 0, Crystal Palace 1. That did not take long at all. I think even heading into this game, whilst the more optimistic of Crystal Palace fans expected this to be a smooth fixture, just headed down by Sarr, flicked on by Mateta, back to Pino, back to Mateta again, and then through to Sarr. And the three that are playing forward together, just one-touch football between the three of them, they make it look so easy, and they've picked apart this Shakhtar Donetsk defence almost immediately. Almost as if they aren't even there. A lot of energy, and again, the more optimistic of Crystal Palace fans may not have expected a start to this standard. Shakhtar Donetsk have had one touch. It was Enrique clearing the ball, but otherwise it has been all Crystal Palace in the opening 20 seconds, and they got themselves a goal, a reward for it. 8th goal in the competition this season for Sarr, and it's Shakhtar Donetsk to get things back underway for us for the first time for them in this game. And Elias goes back to Matvienko and plays this across to Bondar, and out to the right hand side now for Tobias. Takes it back towards the halfway line as Crystal Palace drop into their own half. Now across to Bondar and back out to the right hand side now for Alisson as Tobias moves centrally. Alisson brings it inside, tries to switch the ball across with his left foot, instead plays it across the middle for Oktoretko. And he finds the pass out to the left hand side for Enrique. Again back towards the halfway line now to Matvienko. Almost immediately when the goal was scored by Crystal Palace, Arda Turan threw his coat down and knew it was going to be a bit more of a challenge than what they anticipated. It's always a case of don't concede early, and that was even earlier than early. Out to the right hand side now for Alisson, takes this towards the 6-yard box, tries to beat his man, wants a corner, goal kick given by the linesman. Referee will echo his assistant's suggestion, and we'll have a goal kick to Crystal Palace's Tyreek Mitchell out on that left-hand side, was holding down the challenge of Alisson. He tried to get the ball past him and just ran out of room and knocked it out of play for a goal kick. And Crystal Palace now with Dean Henderson to get on his second touch of the game, as Arda Turan issuing instructions and alterations already to the players on the field. It's played out short by Henderson to Richards, goes back to Henderson, his first time clearance goes upfield, miscontrolled there by Okorekko, out to the right hand side though and intercepted by Ismaila Sarr. He's played the ball down the line, but it's won back by Enrique. Plays this through the middle now for Matvienko, and now for Bondar, just outside of the centre circle inside of Crystal Palace's half. Now for Tobias, down the line for Alisson. Alisson back to Tobias again towards the halfway line. Brings this inside to the edge of the centre circle and plays it across now for Matvienko. To his left hand side he's got Enrique, goes route one through the middle. It's controlled well though there by Pedrino and has to go back towards the halfway line again, as Crystal Palace is staying very disciplined defensively in this early stage. Now they're on the back foot as Bondar gets the ball outside of the centre circle again, across once more to Matvienko, down to the left hand side for Enrique. Further to his left now he's got supporting Eguinaldo. Finds the pass to him by the touchline, closed down by Sarr, and back towards the halfway line. It gets the pass to Matvienko. It's chip ball through the middle, no one runs on to it. It's left to run behind by Henderson, and out of play for a goal kick again to Crystal Palace. 5 minutes gone. If you are late joining us here at Veltins Arena, thank you very much for choosing Flash Score as your coverage of the Conference League this Thursday evening. It's Shakhtar Donetsk 0, Crystal Palace 1, courtesy of an early goal by Ismaila Sarr. It's still goalless in the other Conference League game between Rayo Vallecano and Strasbourg. I'll keep you up to date with the scoreline throughout the course of the evening to determine who it is, of course, that will be facing either of these sides in the final of this year's Conference League. Henderson's pass out to the left-hand side finds Mitchell, inside to Kamada. Once more over to Wharton, out to the left-hand side, back to Mitchell in some space, and now to Kamada on the edge of the area. Cross goes in towards the middle, it's punched away, it's fallen to Wharton, sent goalwards, it's blocked, it's back to Wharton, inside the area, cross back in towards the middle, headed away. Munoz goes up for the header, but it's won by Enrique, brought down by Sarr, falls to Wharton, towards the near post, but it's held well by Riznik in the goal. Strong hands from him to get the ball away from Mateta just moments ago. A good chance for Crystal Palace to double that advantage early on. Sarr again just trying to be a nuisance really for this Donetsk defence, and that's exactly what he's proving to be. But Riznik gets down well to his left hand side and saves the ball at his near post. But a couple of chances there for Adam Wharton, of course, hoping to impress ahead of this year's World Cup, wanting to be in Thomas Tuchel's squad. Feels that based upon form he perhaps should be in that side. I'm sure there's plenty of people that will decide on their own World Cup selection that will include Adam Wharton as part of the squad some way or another. But it's back to Riznik now on the edge of the area. We'll take this to the edge of the D, now out to the left hand side for Enrique. But urged forward by Arda Turan down that left hand side, takes it into Crystal Palace's half, but Ismaila Sarr forces him back into his own half. Maybe a touch too many there, but he gets the pass off to Matvienko. Now gets this through the middle for Pedrino. Can turn on the ball in space to his left hand side now to Eguinaldo, closed down by Munoz, has to go towards the corner flag, plays it back to Enrique, takes a touch, short pass to the edge of the area, lines up a shot, can't be taken, tackle comes in from Kamada. Confusion there from Crystal Palace, not sure on how they're clearing the ball, and Jeremy Pino's gone down under the challenge of Mateta, and Crystal Palace have a free kick on the edge of their area. Round of applause comes from Oliver Glasner, but I'm not quite sure on the referee's decision there. As a sarcastic round of applause comes from Arda Turan on the opposite touchline. The tackle is made there, but it's Mateta that I believe has actually brought down Jeremy Pino on the edge of the area. The free kick has been given, and I believe the referee's given that as a challenge by Okorekko. He was in and amongst the two Crystal Palace players, but the free kick has been given, and Crystal Palace's clearance goes as far as Eguinaldo on the left hand side. Plays this now to Elias on the edge of the area. His effort goes goalwards, blocked by Chris Richards, and turned behind for the first corner of the evening for Shakhtar Donetsk. And they are just camped inside of Crystal Palace's half at the moment. Since the Palace goal, it has been all Donetsk. They're really putting the pressure on the visitors. Out-swinging corner on its way from the left-hand side now. Up from the back come Matvienko and Bondar. Out-swinging corner on its way towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Headed away by Munoz. Crystal Palace will regroup as it's forced back by Marlon, all the way back to his goalkeeper on the outside of the centre circle. Inside of his own half. Out to the left-hand side now for Enrique. Into Crystal Palace's half. Options down the left-hand side, but Palace have regained their shape now defensively. Pass across the middle to Matvienko. Then back to his left-hand side for Enrique. Lets this run across his body. Chipped over the top there to be chased by Eguinaldo. Into the area it goes. Richards gets there first. Comes off the right foot of Eguinaldo, and that's going to be a goal kick again to Crystal Palace. As again, it's a ball over the top that's just catching out the Palace defence, and if they're not very careful, one of these could prove very costly for the visitors. Eguinaldo this time breaks the trap. It was a good outside of the boot shot from Adam Wharton not a few minutes ago. Straight from the goal kick again. It's headed away by Bondar. Out to the right hand side for Tobias. Back inside now to Matvienko. And he's got some space here to take it back into Crystal Palace's half. And Palace have just got this 1-goal lead. And they're sat back at the moment, inviting the pressure, allowing Shakhtar Donetsk to maintain this possession. Now Tobias down the line on the right hand side. Referee gives advantage. Pulls it back now, as there's no advantage, as Tyreek Mitchell wins it back on that left-hand side for Crystal Palace. But the late challenge from Mitchell came in just a moment ago on Allison, and that's where the free kick will be given in favour of the hosts. Tobias has passed down that right-hand side, and it was Pino and then Mitchell both went in for different challenges. I think the free kick's actually been given for the initial challenge from Jeremy Pino that came on Tobias on that right-hand side. But plenty of options forward now, and an option to put this ball into the box. Quite a high line played by Crystal Palace on the edge of the area, with Richards, Lacroix and Campbell leading the line there at the back for the visitors. And a left-footed free kick on its way from the right-hand side, with players pushed forward for Shakhtar Donetsk. Ball comes in towards the middle. It's flicked on and turned behind again by Richards. Corner on the right-hand side now for Shakhtar Donetsk. And staying forward is Matvienko and Bondar. Both made the run, but it was Palace defenders that dropped back first, and it was flicked on at the near post by Eguinaldo before Richards could turn that behind. It was in the direction of Elias. Has got quite good goal-scoring form himself throughout the course of this competition for Shakhtar Donetsk. In-swinging corner on its way, goes in towards the middle. Caught and held well in the 6-yard box by Dean Henderson. Looks for an outlet, but there's no quick option there for him. So he'll hold on to the ball and allow Crystal Palace to regroup as the referee now begins his countdown. He rolls this out now to the right-hand side for Richards. Richards gets the ball away upfield towards Mateta, and it's headed away again by Matvienko. Flicked on and away by Okoretko in the direction of Elias, but it's cleared away by Richards down the right-hand side for Munoz. Munoz loses out though, and it's all the way back to Rizmic, just outside of the area. Plays this out short to his right-hand side for Bondar. Further over now for Tobias inside of his own half. Down the line it goes. First touch here by Marlon. Evades his marker. Down the right-hand side for Allison onto the edge of the area. Cross comes in towards the middle. It's fallen to Eguinaldo. His effort's blocked by Munoz. There's calls for a handball. The referee's decision is a corner, but we will get a VAR check, I imagine, as he's pushing away the Shakhtar Donetsk players that have surrounded him at the moment, calling for handball against Daniel Munoz. I mean, it's one of those things where if it is a handball, fair enough for the claim, but it has come off the arm of Daniel Munoz, but his arm is by his chest. There's not really anywhere else he can put his arm at that point. His arm has been brought in and he's blocked it. He's blocked the effort by Eguinaldo. It's a weak claim at best. The referee's given a corner, and we will have a VAR check from Bastian Dankert, and he's decided that the referee's decision is correct, and it will be a corner for Shakhtar Donetsk. Out-swinging corner comes in, it's headed goalwards, and it's cleared up towards Kamada. Kamada heads this to his right-hand side, and it's cleared away by Riznik, who's up at the halfway line, a very high line for the goalkeeper, even as a sweeper keeper to be playing. Here's the ball over the top. Kamada beat it in the last man. It's just how high the Shakhtar Donetsk goalkeeper's made his presence felt. As soon as Crystal Palace tried to launch that counter-attack, Kamada was through on goal. It was cleared away by Mateta, and then further away by Wharton. And Kamada, who just ran through the middle, tried to head this ball back for somebody, but in the end it was Riznik that was out there at the halfway line. There was nobody back for Shakhtar Donetsk. It's a very risky approach when attacking a set piece to leave nobody back and just leave it all towards your goalkeeper. But it's paid off for them on this occasion. They've got away with it. And it's now with Enrique down the left-hand side. Goes back to Matvienko, across to Bondar, just outside of the centre circle inside of his own half. And back to Riznik now on the edge of the area. Plenty of yards gained by him already so far in this game. Now out to Matvienko again. Chipped over to the right-hand side for Tobias. Brings this down just in play by his chest. And then back inside to Matvienko. Up towards the halfway line and into the opposition half. Out to the left-hand side now, still inside of the centre circle. Further over one more for Enrique. And down the line, controlled well by Aguinaldo, kept in play now to Enrique. Through the middle, the gap's there for Elias. He chests this ball down, a chance for a shot. Richards makes up the ground. His effort's been blocked. It's fallen still to Elias, brings this back. He's lost his footing in the middle. Pedrino can't get his shot away. Cleared away by Kamvat in the end, up towards the halfway line. Matvienko regains possession, but Shakhtar Donetsk were just playing about with the ball inside of the Crystal Palace area, and nobody knew who was taking the shot. Eventually, it was just block after block for Crystal Palace. And it's the ball away that's allowed them to regroup and regain positioning again. They're starting to fall to pieces at the back slightly. It's opening up these chances for Shakhtar Donetsk. Out to the left-hand side now for Aguinaldo. Inside for Okoretko. And now for Matvienko. Now Bondar. To his right-hand side. Now with Tobias. Down the line for Allison. Brings this inside, turns back on the ball, looks for support to his right and doesn't have any. Finds Tobias, who had to go back towards his own halfway line. His ball switched across to Enrique. Ball slides underneath his foot and out of play for a throw-in for Crystal Palace on the right-hand side. It was Enrique's ball just a moment ago. It was chested down well by Marlon and Elias couldn't get the shot away. It was dragged back in the end for Pedrino and he couldn't get his shot away. It seemed like the ball had just got caught up with the wrong boot and it allowed Lacroix and Kamvat between them to get the ball away for Crystal Palace, but these gaps are starting to show in the Palace defence and the chances are starting to come for the hosts. They just need to be a bit more clinical in that final third, and that was the best chance of the game so far that went begging, and Pedrino appeared to have lost his footing while trying to get the shot away, but from just in front of the technical area on the right hand side now, Crystal Palace have a throw in. Munoz will be the one to take this, directs this towards Jeremy Pino. It's played back out of play for another throw in 2 yards further forward. Palace wants a free kick, referee's not giving it. Throw down again from Munoz to Pino. Late challenge comes in as Pino switches this across to the left hand side. Headed away though by Tobias. Up towards the halfway line, one back by Kamada. Foul, says the referee, by Wharton in the midfield area on Allison, and there'll be a free kick from just outside of the centre circle inside of Shakhtar Donetsk's half. Prepared to take this quickly when Allison gets back to his feet. It was a late tackle by Adam Wharton, and I think he knew as soon as the whistle went that it was going to be a free kick, but Enrique's the one to take this and plays it back to Matvienko inside of his own half. 16 minutes gone here at Veltins Arena. Shakhtar Donetsk 0, Crystal Palace 1 at the scoreline. Across now to Bondar, still inside of Shakhtar Donetsk's half. To his right hand side he's got Matvienko again. Out to his left he's got Enrique. The gap's opening up for him as Ismail Assar moves more central. A bit more of a compact approach now for Crystal Palace. Out to the right hand side he finds some space here for Tobias. Yerrick Pino now moves across to close him down as Tobias plays this down the line. Well covered by Tyreek Mitchell. Throwing on the right hand side now for Shakhtar Donetsk, about equal with the edge of the area. Thrown back by Tobias to his centre half in Bondar. Now inside the middle to Okoretko. To his left hand side for Enrique. Enrique takes going back towards the halfway line. He gets the ball past Sarr. Into the area now for Elias. Can't get his shot away. Does on the second attempt, but it's blocked by Lacroix. Falls out to the right hand side for Allison. Still on the edge of the area. Mitchell alongside him. Plays this ball back to Okoretko. And now to Pino. Pino's chipped ball in. Headed away by Lacroix. Flicked away by Wharton. He had a bit more time then. Was waiting for the call and needed the call by Crystal Palace players. He had time to take a touch, but he's just given possession away by clearing the ball first time. Back to Shakhtar Donetsk, and now it's with Okoretko again. Just outside of the centre circle to his left-hand side for Enrique. Back inside now to Okoretko. Over one more now for Tobias. Tobias takes this to the edge of the area. Cross comes back in towards the middle, headed away by Lacroix. Brought down on the edge of the area, can't get his shot away, tries to beat the man, and then just completely misses the ball as it's cleared away by Cambert. Only on the edge of the area. Enrique's ball across is controlled inside the area by Tyreek Mitchell. Takes this to the edge of the area and chips it upfield towards Mateta. It's gone over him, and it's brought down by Matvienko again inside of Shakhtar Donetsk's half. And again, Crystal Palace have just given possession away. And the hosts have it again out to the right-hand side for Tobias. Down the line now for Alisson. Alisson back to the halfway line for Bundar. Lets this run across to Matvienko. Now back to Bundar, outside of the centre circle in Crystal Palace's half. And now Matvienko again. Enrique still to his left. Gap opening up through the middle. Makes that space though as well for Eguinaldo. Back to the halfway line now to Enrique. Further along it goes to Matvienko. Inside for Okoretko. And now Enrique into his own half. All the way back to his keeper, and it's with Riznik. Riznik takes the first touch to take this back to the edge of the area. Now out to Bandar, and they're forced back into their own half, but Crystal Palace just stepping away from them, still allowing them to have that possession inside of their own half. They've got to be very careful from how this game's gone so far, because every time that they've tried to allow Shakhtar Donetsk more time on the ball, they're starting to create some issues in this Palace defence. It goes across to Okoretko now. Cross one more to Bondar, again on the edge of the area. And now for Tobias. Forward to Marlon. Under pressure takes this out to the right-hand side, now for Pedrino. Now back to Tobias. Switches this out to the left-hand side. Brought down by Eguinaldo on the edge of the area. Munoz closes him down as Eguinaldo goes back to the edge of the area for Enrique. 10 yards to his right. Space here for Bondar. Now for Tobias. And now Alisson in a better position to get a cross in. Takes his time with doing so though, and gives possession away to Tyreek Mitchell. Has to get the ball away upfield, does so, and it's gone all the way back through to Matvienko, and again it's Shakhtar Donetsk in possession. Well, so far in this game, despite trailing by a goal to nil, it's nearly 80% possession in favour of the hosts, 79% on the stats. Completed 121 passes to Crystal Palace's 16, and we've only been playing 20 minutes, and they're trailing by a goal to nil. Kamada drops this ball off now for Jeremy Pino. He looks out to the right-hand side for Munoz. That chance is gone. Gives it to Wharton instead. Now back to Lacroix, and Crystal Palace taking their time in possession now. Just trying to have a moment to really rest the nerves slightly. They've been under a lot of pressure so far. High press coming from Shakhtar Donetsk, as now it's with Kamada. Out to Mitchell on the left-hand side. Back into his own half again to Kamada. Takes a touch and he takes this away from Canva. Across the middle to Lacroix. Lacroix towards the edge of the centre circle. Still inside of Crystal Palace's half. And now out to Canva. And now Mitchell. Mitchell gets away from his marker and back into his own half to Canva. And now to Lacroix. Out to Richards, he's closed down immediately, inside to Wharton, Wharton forward to Sarr, so hands this back off to Wharton, through the middle for Munoz, and it's won back by Enrique. He goes back to his keeper, Riznik on the edge of the 6-yard box, plays this ball out slightly to Matvienko, now to his left-hand side to Enrique, and a gap's opened up on this left-hand side, but Mateta's across to cover well, and it forces Crystal Palace back into their own half, but it forces Shakhtar Donetsk to cut the ball across to the right-hand side. Drops this ball off now for Elias. Back instead for Okoretko. Onto the left-hand side for Eguinaldo. Onto his right foot. Cross comes in towards the middle. It's left to run by Mitchell. All the way through it goes, and out of play for a goal kick. He must have hit the shout from Dean Henderson, who saw over the shoulder of Tyreek Mitchell that nobody was making the run. It's a great ball into the box from Eguinaldo. It put a lot of pressure on Crystal Palace defenders, but there's nobody gambling at the back post. That's where you need someone like Alisson or even Elias running through the middle at that point, just gambling on those chances that are being created at the moment by the host, but they're not doing that. Putting some good crosses into the box, but they're not getting onto the end of them. They're not forcing Crystal Palace into these errors defensively. Whenever they've got the ball, they're just forcing them to clear the ball upfield. Mitchell gets this away down the line, and out of play it goes for a throw-in, and it's taken quickly on that right-hand side by Tobias. Through the middle now for Pedrino. Out to his left-hand side. Now for Eguinaldo. Won back by Kamada. Drops this ball off to Sarr, who's gone down, wants a free kick on the edge of the centre circle. Not given, but tackle comes in. Kamada plays it down the line for Mateta. Too much on the ball. Riznik comes out for it and passes this out to Enrique. And away comes Shakhtar Donetsk. Up towards the halfway line now with Okorekko. Switches this over to his right hand side, but it is behind its intended target, and it's a Crystal Palace throw-in inside of Shakhtar Donetsk's half on that left hand side. It'll be taken by Tyreek Mitchell, who goes across to do so. And looking down the line, he's got Yeremy Pino slowly making his way across. Kamada's doing the same, more in through the middle. He's also got Wharton one over, gives it to Yeremy Pino, switches this across to Munoz inside of the area. It's a great ball. Munoz brings it back. Sarr can't get the clear shot away, and it's caught in the air by Riznik. It looked like it was a right-footed effort by Sarr that flicked up off his left foot and went into the arms of the Shakhtar Donetsk goalkeeper. Rolled out now to his right-hand side for Tobias, up towards the halfway line. A run being made by Allison, but thinks better of it and goes inside to Bondo instead. Cross one more from Matvienko. To his left-hand side now for Enrique. Down the line for Eguinaldo. And back to Enrique. Now Matvienko. And now Bondar. Out to the right-hand side for Tobias. Back inside now with Okorekko. Enrique to his left-hand side still. The gap's opened up for him on the edge of the area. Cross comes in towards the middle. It's headed away by Lacroix. Up towards the halfway line. Headed down by Matvienko to his left-hand side. Enrique and Sarr go in for the challenge together. It comes off Sarr last. Throw into Shakhtar Donetsk. Taken by Enrique back to Matvienko as Oliver Glasner's issuing instructions now to his players. And across it goes to Bondar. Tobias to his right-hand side over halfway through this first half now. Now Matvienko into the gap. It goes all the way through. Headed away by Mitchell. Out on the right-hand side now with Allison. Allison down the line. Finds some space for Pedrino. Takes this towards the corner flag. And the tackle's made by Mitchell. And it will be a corner for the hosts. And the third corner of the game. Crystal Palace yet to have one. But they've not really had the ball inside of the opposing half since the goal. You might say that it's only been once that it's been inside of the area since the goal. And the in-swinging corner comes in from the right-hand side towards the middle, headed away by Lacroix. Finds the edge of the area, headed down to the left-hand side now for Bondar. Now for Marlon. Cross comes in towards the middle, headed away by Munoz to the edge of the area. Cross comes back in by Allison towards the back post, turned behind by Chris Richards, and is calls for the Shakhtar Donetsk supporters to give more volume for Cowart Elias. There's another good cross in towards the back post, and it forced Chris Richards to get up there first. He's won absolutely everything in the air so far in this game, and he's been pivotal in this Crystal Palace defence, and a huge part as to why it's still 0 goals for the hosts. There's an out-swinging corner on its way now, coming from Pedrino. Goes around the edge of the 6-yard box in towards the near post, headed away again by a Crystal Palace player. It's by Munoz, and now it's with Pino out to the right-hand side, still inside of his own half, tries to evade the challenge, but it is won back down its side by Pedrino. Now to Cowart Elias into the area, away by Wharton, out to the left-hand side for Crystal Palace to regroup, and Elias and Pedrino just having to communicate with each other. They allow Adam Wharton to get the ball away, but again, gap starting to show in this Palace defence. 26 minutes gone. Shakhtar Donetsk 0, Crystal Palace 1. Enrique back to the halfway line with Matvienko. Out to his right-hand side for Bondar. Now Tobias, cross in towards the middle, comes off Lacroix and behind. Another corner for Shakhtar Donetsk. The pressure continues to mount as everybody's back again for the visitors. They are struggling with the amount of pressure they're under at the moment. Players lurking on the edge of the area, but nobody further back than the edge of the D inside of Crystal Palace's half. Corner number 6 now for the hosts. In-swinging corner on its way from Pedrino towards the middle, headed away by Wharton. Here Pino goes to close this down, brought down on the edge of the area, but Pino wins it back. He's got Kamada to his left-hand side, plays it out to his right now for Sarr. Options to his left, plays it over the top towards Kamada. Too much on the ball, and it's out of play for a throw-in. Ismail Sarr shows the frustration. I think he expected a bit more from Daichi Kamada on that left-hand side, but it wasn't as far forward as perhaps Sarr had liked. As a result of that, Shakhtar Donetsk get possession back inside of their own half. And Tobias will be the one to take the throw in. Can't help but feel how this game may have been approached differently from both of these sides had Crystal Palace not scored inside the opening 23 seconds. It has been all Shakhtar Donetsk since, thrown by Tobias. Now for Bondar, across for Matvienko. Out to Enrique. Now inside for Okorekko. Back to Matvienko again. Through the centre circle he goes to the right hand side. Plays this ball off for Bondar. And then through the middle for Marlon. Marlon turns on the ball. Water's challenge comes in. Gives possession back now to Kamada. Out to Mitchell. And then back to Kamada. And all the way back it goes to Lacroix. To his right hand side he's got Richards. As now Crystal Palace come up towards the halfway line. Out to the right hand side for Munoz inside of the opposing half. Now to Richards. And then back across the middle for Lacroix. Out to the left hand side for Campbell. Campbell's got Mitchell down to his left hand side. By the touchline, Mitchell beats his man, brings it inside and finds Kamada in space. Wharton's one over. Kamada plays it over to Munoz at the back post. It's just ahead of him. And out to play for a goal kick for Shakhtar Donetsk as we reach the half-hour mark. That was another chance. It was just a bit more off it. And then Munoz might just have been able to get onto the end of it. He stretched out his right foot and very close to getting a touch on the ball. The goal kick now with options either side of him. Bondar and Matvienko. Goes to his left for Matvienko. Now to Enrique. Close down immediately. Now Crystal Palace start to show a higher press. Cleared down the line. Headed away by Richards. Headed down by Mateta. Now with Kamada. Turns towards his own half and makes this pass towards Cambar. Now for Lacroix. Back across to Cambar. There's a shift now in momentum slightly in favour of Crystal Palace. Out to Richards. Inside of his own half. Tries to find the gap for Kamada, but it's intercepted there well by Okorekko. Loses out on the challenge. Now it's with Elias. Elias through the middle. Here with Pedrino. One back by Wharton. Wharton's got Sarr to his right hand side. Wharton's running through the middle. Wharton gets away from Okorekko. He's brought down. Yellow card's going to be given to Okorekko, and it's the right decision by the referee. It's a cynical foul just to try and avoid Crystal Palace, who were attacking in numbers. Okorekko furious with how slow Shakhtar Donetsk players were to get back as Wharton was bursting forward. It's a free kick to Crystal Palace just inside of Donetsk's half. And it was a pull on the shirt and he just pulled Wharton down. He was absolutely furious, but you got to see the yellow card be given. And I think he knew that's what the outcome was going to be. No hesitation by the referee. Just outside of the centre circle in Shakhtar Donetsk's half is where this free kick will be taken from. A very high line from the hosts with players up from the back for Palace. It's Kamada stood over this free kick as the referee just pulls things to a halt before we can take the free kick. Chris Richards being called over and Kamada. Sent Chris Richards away. Kamada and Eguinaldo are the two that the referee wants to speak to. But there are multiple options for who he could have been speaking to because there's so many players that have been having a bit of a tussle. Very high line here, so just outside of the centre circle is where this free kick is. And the line is about 15 yards further forward as it's chipped down the right hand side for Sarr. Sarr's cross is blocked. Crystal Palace want a corner, Shakhtar Donetsk want a goal kick, and a goal kick is the decision. To a round of applause from Eguinaldo, but Ismail Sarr had absolutely no arguments with the referee as he brought this down the right hand side. It looked to me like it could have been a corner, so his cross has blocked back. I think that is a corner. I'm surprised Ismail Sarr hasn't given up more of an argument there, but the goal kick is the decision by the linesman, and the referee has taken that support that he's got from his assistant. And the goal kick now for Riznik in the centre of the 6-yard box. Up to his left hand side. Headed away by Richards, back into the opposing half, flicked on by Kamada, expects a lot here from Mitchell, but he keeps the ball in play on that left-hand side. Tyreek Mitchell making the run, he's got Munoz out to the right, plays it down the line for Kamada, cross comes in towards the middle, headed away to the edge of the area, flicked on further by Okoretko. Challenge goes in there from Tyreek Mitchell, not once but twice wins the ball back, but it's only fallen to Eguinaldo. Now to Allison. Allison back to Tobias, who's been tripped by Kamada. Free kick given now by the touchline on that right-hand side for Shakhtar Donetsk. And now across the middle it goes for Bondar. Now to Matvienko. Back to the left-hand side for Enrique. Back inside for Matvienko. And now to Bondar. Outside of the centre circle to the right-hand side for Tobias. Tobias back to the halfway line, and Bondar now still inside of Crystal Palace's half. Back to Matvienko. Enrique further over to his left-hand side, gets possession of the ball. Sarr closes him down. And down the line it goes for Eguinaldo. He's tripped as he moves away. Munoz, the one that's committed the foul, and the free kick's given. In a dangerous position here on the left-hand side. Sarr is forced back to the edge of the area to help defensively, as Daniel Munoz is just having a word with the referee on the decision. Munoz feels that his left foot was outstretched trying to get the ball, and he felt that he knocked the ball away and then may have caught the player afterwards. There's no argument that he caught the player. Eguinaldo's definitely took a hit from Munoz there, but it's a free kick by Shakhtar Donetsk, and it's about 6-7 yards further outside of the area, but over to what Crystal Palace would be looking at on their right-hand side, almost by the touchline, and it's Pedrino that's going to be taking this free kick, as he has done with every set piece so far. Cross comes in towards the back post, it's just over Elias, chased down and kept in play by Allison on the right-hand side, up against Munoz, who's come across from the right-hand side, played back now to Tobias, and across it goes to Okoretko, to the halfway line now for Tobias again, and all the way back for Matvienko, and now to Riznik, and Shakhtar Donetsk will require the players to come all the way back when the free kick amounts to nothing. That's Matvienko on the left-hand side. Enrique further over. Sarr closes him down as he's forced back into his own half with Matvienko. Cross one more to Bondar, inside of the centre circle. Out to the right-hand side now for Tobias. By the touchline, up against Munoz. Crystal Palace still not fully regrouped yet. Now Allison. Cross comes in towards the back post. Out comes Henderson to claim on the edge of the 6-yard box. And holds on to the ball again, just to provide the extra bit of stability for the Crystal Palace defence. Very reliable in the goal. Another player that's trying to put his name forward for an international call-up heading towards the World Cup. I'm sure Thomas Tuchel is keeping a close eye on a couple of players in this fixture. If not just today, but also in the return leg in 7 days' time, as Daniel Munoz gets the ball out on his right-hand side now. Through the middle goes Ismaila Sarr, plays it instead across to Wharton, and then back to Lacroix. Across to the left-hand side for Canva, and back to Lacroix on the edge of the centre circle, and now to Richards on the right-hand side. Out to Munoz. Munoz has a job keeping that in play as he takes it back towards his own half, but dribbles this out of play, says the linesman. It'll be a throw on the left-hand side. Enrique throws this back again to Matvienko. Hits this up towards Mateta and plays it across to Bondar on the right-hand side of the edge of the centre circle. Into the final 10 minutes of regular time at the end of the first half. Now to Matvienko. Chipped through the middle, headed away by Lacroix. Back inside by Sarr, but brought down by Allison. Kamada goes in with the tackle and it falls to Sarr. Now to Mateta. Lays this ball off for Kamada. He's making his run forward as Kamada comes forward as well for Crystal Palace. They're currently outnumbered, but he's got Mateta to his right, Mitchell to his left. Finds the pass off to Mitchell. His cross takes a deflection. It falls to Mateta. Can't get it shot away inside the area. It's out to Tobias. Down to the touchline goes Tobias, and it's Mitchell battling with him. Still in play at the moment. Tobias and Mitchell, as he goes towards his own corner flag, gets the clearance away, but only as far as Mitchell, who's chipped ball through the middle. He's left to run there by Bondar, and the close down challenge by Sarr forces Bondar clearing the ball, and it's given the possession back to Palace at the halfway line with Tyreek Mitchell. Mitchell across the middle now for Lacroix. Back to Canva. Out to Wharton. to his own half with Lacroix. Across to Richards. Richards back to Lacroix. Now back to Mitchell. Mitchell by the touchline. Back to Kamada. Then back into his own half again to Canvar. Across to Lacroix. Still has Richards to his right. Lacroix switches this over to the left-hand side. Mitchell's in some space, brings this down in space, knocks the ball past his marker, and he's brought down by Tobias. And that's another yellow card and a free kick to Crystal Palace in a dangerous position, but Mitchell's knocked the ball past him, and then Tobias has put the challenge in, so I'm not sure if a yellow card is all we're going to see at this point. Mitchell's brought the ball down, tips the ball over him, and the challenge goes in over the boot. I'm just going to see just if there's a raised studs at this point. Oh, it's a lunge that's gone in from Tobias. Back to Tyreek Mitchell. He's back to his feet and we've got a free kick, but he's limping away slightly from the situation. Well, Crystal Palace won't want him to be injured and may consider, if it looks too serious, not risking him for the remainder of this game. He's been an integral part of the season. Now it's an in-swinging free kick from Adam Wharton. It plays forward for Crystal Palace. Plays the ball in, it goes to everybody and goes all the way through to the back where Canvar's going to have to chase this down. Nobody's managed to get a touch on the ball. He plays it back to Mitchell, now to Munoz, flicks the ball past for Lacroix, cross comes in, it's blocked, turned behind for a corner for Crystal Palace as Lacroix is shouting towards the Crystal Palace fans for more volume, and they get a corner out on the right hand side. But I'm surprised we didn't see more from the yellow card that was given to Tobias. The challenge on Tyreek Mitchell was very, very dangerous. On that left-hand side, bit of a lunge that came in by the right back of Shakhtar Donetsk, and Wharton will be playing this corner in from the right-hand side. It's an in-swinging corner on its way, with again all three centre-backs up for Crystal Palace. It comes towards the back post, and it is caught by Riznik and held onto inside the 6-yard box. He looks out towards his left-hand side, but Adam Wharton's cut the channel out. In the end, it is rolled out to Enrique. He's passed inside now to Otkaretko, and now to Matvienko. To his right-hand side is Bondar. 88 passes completed for Crystal Palace in this opening 40 minutes. We've just reached past 200. For Shakhtar Donetsk, been the side that's been quite comfortable in possession, in control of this game despite trailing. Now Richards back to Henderson, takes a touch away from the edge of the 6-yard box and gets the ball cleared up towards the halfway line. Mateta goes in for the challenge alongside Matvienko. It's headed down though for Daniel Munoz. Mateta tries to get there the second time and the third, but Enrique comes away with the ball, waits for the support out to his right hand side, gets the pass off now for Tobias, takes this into Crystal Palace's half. Tobias brings this inside to the edge of the centre circle. Across the middle now for Matvienko. Still with Enrique to his left. Final 5 minutes of regular time. Matvienko goes back to his keeper. He's taken a stumble on his way of doing so. And the free kick's been given to Shakhtar Donetsk. Adam Wharton with the challenge. And they're waiting for the centre-backs to go forward, but it's taken quickly just whilst Crystal Palace were regrouping. Brought down inside the area by Elias. Won back by Lacroix. Goes back to Henderson. First time clearance again, brought down inside of his own half and loses out to his Jeremy Pino's going to chase this down. It's a good challenge that comes in by Bondar, and out comes the keeper. His clearance is blocked and he's with Pino again on the left hand side. Challenge comes flying in by Bondar. It's going to be a throw on the left hand side for Crystal Palace. And that's been an absolute nightmare defensively for Shakhtar Donetsk. Initially from Matvienko and then from Bondar. So Matvienko's heavy touch invited the pressure from Jeremy Pino. The challenge that came in gave the ball to Bondar, who slipped on his clearance. The ball still went all the way back to Riznik, whose clearance was blocked by Jeremy Pino, and out on the left hand side he didn't have many supporting options. Just tried to keep the ball in play, but Bondar's challenge gave a throw in to Crystal Palace, equal with the edge of the goalkeeper's area on the left hand side, as the volume has very much picked up from the far corner with Crystal Palace supporters. And a long throw on its way by Chris Richards. Mateta around the goalkeeper inside the 6-yard box. It goes towards Lacroix. Flicks this ball on. It's brought down by Wharton. Can't get his shot away. Acrobatic clearance by Otkoretko. Out to the right-hand side now with Kamara. Cross comes back in towards Mateta. Brings this down inside the area. Can't turn and get his shot away. Tries to get across him, but it's blocked. Enrique comes away with the ball. Has to go back towards the corner flag though as Wharton's closing him down. Backheel down the line, and turning on the ball is Otkoretko. We'll take this up towards the halfway line as he gets away from Mateta. Closed down by Sarr. Chipped down the line. Brought down by Elias. Challenge comes in from Kamada, and it's a free kick to Shakhtar Donetsk just inside of Crystal Palace's half, but they've been working their way out from the back down that left-hand side now. It's well held on to by Elias, and then of course the challenge that came in from Kamada, and it was slightly late by Munoz also. Played across to Bundar, now across one more to the edge of the centre circle with Marlon. Now for Matvienko. Back to the left hand side with Enrique, leaves this to run. Now with Eguinaldo. Goes back towards the halfway line. Matvienko. And now Bundar. Out to the right hand side for Tobias. Go back to the halfway line should he wish to do so. Goes to Bundar.